Good Tuesday afternoon, social media friends, and especially for all of my friends and my guest friends who are leaning toward how can I be more effective, maybe more sustainable with how I use energy in your home or in your real estate properties. My guest today is a nice connection. For as long as we've known each other, I think it's very easy for me to say he's a close friend. And so, with all of that said, let me give my guest, Scott Rose, a nice warm welcome so that he can join us in the studio today for this live stream conversation of solar powered living. Here we go. Fan base of Scott. Give him a rip roaring welcome. Scott, you got to love these people. All these people that you've created value for, impacted their lives. They're just saying, Scott, Scott, Scott. So let's bring you into the conversation.
All my friends out there.
All your friends from local and afar. So, Scott, thanks for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me, Bill. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I thought for today's conversation that we are live streaming to my social audience, to your social audience, and the audience that maybe they don't know us that well yet, but once they extract and hear what they're going to hear, who knows? Maybe they're your next new social connection. How's that?
Well, I think it'll be a valuable few minutes that we spend together here talking about solar living.
Yeah,
obviously, solar is making its way into everybody's conversation these days.
it is. It absolutely is. And let's start off with, I think, why that is becoming more important and more important, right? It's because at the end of the day, we all have to find ways, whether we are an early adopter, we've already done it, we're scratching our head thinking, I should do it, or the last segment of people, which is, I've heard about it, someone's told me about it, they maybe have watched a live stream podcast episode about it, and of course now they're doing the research. Nothing wrong with all three of those journeys of people who might be absolutely interested in solar powered living. So with all of that said, Scott, let me kind of set the table for you with an audience that might not know you as well yet. I have known you for how long? 10 plus years, right?
At least.
Yeah. And for as long as I've known you, I know the one thing that you've always done is you provide a service, you provide solutions to many of us who know you very well around our next chapter of real estate, our next home, and how to make all of our households and lives live better and probably more cost effective. Would that be a safe description of you?
That would be great, Bill. For the last 23 years, I've been a residential realtor here in Lake County and northern Cook County in Illinois, and helping people buy and sell their homes. And my tagline has always been, "I'll be there for the changes in your life."
Right.
And as people go through the different seasons in their life, I want to be a resource to them wherever I can help them.
Right, right. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I always have remembered about you. So, with all of that said, one of the things that's certainly changing in front of all of us is how to power our homes with new energy.
Mhm.
And the one thing that I know you have committed yourself to is providing some unique solutions to your clients, to your friends, as to, yes, hey, because here locally where you and I live, we get to pick and choose who is the supplier of our energy, specifically electricity. Talk
Mhm.
to us about your affiliation with this company that I think provides a lot of different solutions. But today, leading off, one thing you shared with me was this concept. I thought it was quite interesting. This concept of sharing the benefits of solar panels. How the heck does that work?
Well, let's go back a little bit further than that, Bill. When I'm driving down the road, when we talk about the need for increased electricity, it's all around us.
Yep.
Every other car that you see out there on the highway is either a Tesla or a Rivian or some of the other electric vehicles. And how do we power that? How do we power our home in an efficient manner? Renewable energy is a hot topic, and there's some solutions out there. Years ago, people started coming out with solar panels on your roof, and that can work or it can't work depending on,
Yep.
number one, where you're at, the size of your roof, how it's situated. Um, and a while ago, I came across a company called Think Energy, and Think Energy had a unique solution to that. As a renewable energy company, they offer three solutions. Number one is they have competitive rates to ComEd, and as we know, we deregulated electricity many years ago, just like we deregulated cell phones and AT&T, and T.
Yep.
And so they came out with competitive rates with ComEd. They also came out with community solar farms. And let me explain what community solar farms are. Some people, for whatever reason, don't want to put solar panels on the roof. So
True.
here's a solution that they can participate in community solar farms where they basically are renting a piece of a community solar farm. It might be out in the middle of a field, it might be on an office building, it might be on a parking lot. And by participating in that community solar farm, they enjoy a 10% to 20% discount for 20 years. And they don't have to go to the expense of installing solar panels on the roof, but they still get the benefit. And then the
Right.
third benefit we have through Think Energy is a referral bonus program where they can even cut their supply cost even further by referring other people who also might want to save on their electric bill.
Okay.
So Think Energy, it's a newer company. They've been around for 2 years, but they're taking the world by storm. They're now in 11 states. Um, so we have solutions for everybody who pays an electric bill. People that are in homes, people that are in apartments, condos, people that are renting,
Yep.
small commercial can benefit from community solar farms. And I think we're in 11 states right now. I think it's going to go nationwide, where deregulation might have its limits. We're in about 11 states there with the electric piece. Community solar, I think, is going to spread out to California, Texas, out into the Midwest. It's already here in Illinois and up and down the East Coast. So I think community solar farms are going to be a great way to handle the increased need for electricity.
And I love how you touched on the instances why and where someone may not choose to drop panels onto their roof. Like you said, maybe they're just a renter. So they don't own the real estate, but they certainly have jumped onto the bandwagon of sustainable new way of getting to energy. So that's a great explanation. So you mentioned that right now the rollout of this organization that you're a part of is across 11 states. So, would that mean to me you've got some of your clients that may be here local to you and me? You've got maybe other clients that have moved to one of these other 11 states, as well as your network of friends and work peers, right? They can all tap into this nice offering that you represent.
Right, right. It's funny. My wife and I went on a cruise this past New Year's, and the woman who sold us the cruise actually lives in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And I just happened to say, "Hey, by the way, do you have an electric bill?" And I think she lives in a condo, but amazingly, and this is just one example, she's paying about 26 and a half cents per kilowatt. And through Think Energy, we can offer her the same thing for 16.5 or
Wow.
14.5 cents. So if you really, look at her usage and everything, that's a savings about $2,400 a year. And
Wow.
think
Wow.
about what else you could do with that money in today's economy with everything else coming up, going up. I think that could really improve people's lives.
That's so very true.
That's just one
Um,
example.
yeah, that's so very true. Um, Besides this shared solar farm concept, you're also telling me that at the very core, from you and Think Energy, we can tap into what you offer as far as just direct electricity feed at probably a much lower cost effective means going forward in time, right?
Right. Right. Like I said, a 10% discount for 20 years just by participating. And if you're a lower to medium income individual, you can enjoy discounts up to 20% off the supply portion of your bill. And,
Wonderful.
the big thing is, the big question you have to ask yourself if you're considering solar is how long are you going to live in your home?
True.
And if you're going to build a home and you're going to put solar panels on and enjoy it for 20, 30 years, that's one thing. But if you're going to be moving in 3, 5, 7 years, how long is it going to take for you to recoup the investment of solar panels? And what I've run to on the real estate side is this year we have a new contract that has a clause that addresses solar panels.
I'm
In
so
other
glad you
words,
brought that up. Yes, I saw
in
that
other
too.
words, who pays for it when you're selling a home with solar? Is there an advantage or a disadvantage? Well, if you've leased those solar panels, does the seller pay it off, or does the buyer assume the cost of those solar panels? And then you got to really figure out, is there a savings
Yeah,
to putting that? And that's the beauty of community solar, is you get all the benefits, all the upside with very little, if any, downside.
that's true. Yeah. I know the common question, the fork in the road that your clients, my clients face, and that fork in the road is of course this, right? Do I want to buy or do I want to rent?
Mhm.
So with that, let's actually bring up one of the properties that you're currently selling. And if you don't mind, I took the liberty of looking for it amongst many of the properties that you represent right now, in the open market for sellers and buyers. So this particular property that I see, would this be a great candidate for one or many of your offerings from Think Energy?
Well, obviously, if you look at the property, it sits where there are no trees around it.
Right,
There's a lot of sun on this sunny day,
right.
and I think the slope of the roof and the fact that it's open like that would be an ideal candidate for a community solar farm. if they didn't want to commit to solar panels on the roof.
Gotcha.
I think this is a great example of someone who could benefit. For fortunately or unfortunately, they're looking at moving, so maybe the new buyer can enjoy that. But it definitely
Absolutely.
is a
Yeah.
great example.
Yeah. The next buyer, the new buyer, can enjoy it, and certainly should and can benefit from this additional element of what you offer as a business professional. So, audience members, as Scott just touched upon, what he can provide, one of many solutions is non-disruptive, right? You can certainly tap into a shared solar farm, all of the benefits from it, no long-term commitments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if for whatever your reasons are, hey, I'm just not ready to drop some panels onto my roof, then absolutely, with what Scott has shared with you, this is something you have to consider. Now, let me pivot and talk about, what if you are in the mindset where you're thinking, I actually want to drop some panels onto my roof, and I want to own them as opposed to lease them or rent them. So with all of that said, social media friends, my company, myself, we actually offer a down payment assistance solution so that you can actually buy this home that Scott is selling to you as a buyer. And our down payment assistance gives you the minimum down payment to make your next step a reality. And on top of it, we partner with a solar panel business to actually help you install, drop in place, and own the solar panels for a 3,000 square foot home that you see right here, right now. So, what do you think about that, Scott?
I think that's definitely an option. And, the government wants homeowners to take advantage of solar energy one way or the other. There are tax credits available. There are incentives available. There are a lot of companies out there. Be very cautious about who you deal with, because not everybody has the integrity of Bill and I, but we can steer you in the right direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as we wrap up, social media friends, let me share with you a quick visual aid as to what we're talking about. In the event you want to drop solar panels onto your roof and you need some financial assistance to be able to make that happen today, and also along the way, maybe you want to do this with the next home that you're buying with the help of my friend, local real estate broker Scott Rose. Here is what we're talking about. This is the down payment assistance solution. We, of course, named it Solar Boost DPA. And in case you're wondering, well, how can I engage you, Bill and Scott, in a more personal consultation as to what we need to do next? Real simple. All you have to do is simply scan the QR code that you see here. Both Scott and I will engage you in a personal consultation to walk you through all of the possibilities and the next steps in front of you. So, as I ask my music posse to close out this episode, I want to thank my guest, my friend, local real estate broker Scott Rose, for sharing his time, his knowledge with you, and of course with me. Music posse, play us out. Have a good day, everyone.